tonight's big stories. At least 7 people died while around 70 are still missing following the landslides in Macaipili, Davao de Oro. 2 buses carrying workers of Apex Mining Corporation were among those buried.
After doing an aerial inspection of the landslide-hit areas, President Marcos led the inauguration of the Davao City Bulk Water Supply Project, the largest of its kind in the country.
And the police insist that it will not implement the arrest warrant against former President Rodrigo Duterte should the International Criminal Court issue one. We'll be speaking to ICC Assistant to Counsel Atty Conti about this case later on.
Welcome to the show. I'm Regina.
I'm Gretchen.
And I'm Shawn.
We begin tonight on a grim note as tragedy has struck Davao de Oro. Search and rescue workers continue to retrieve the bodies of people buried in mud and rocks following a landslide that struck a mining village in Macaipili.
At least 2 buses carrying workers of Apex Mining Corporation were reportedly buried in the landslide.
The province has been affected by bad weather the past few days, affecting thousands of individuals. Rainiel Pawid with the big story.
What you're seeing is the aftermath of a huge landslide that struck a mining village in Davao de Oro. Among those buried are 2 buses and around 30 homes. Fallen trees can also be seen in the area. This is what Masara village looked like before the landslide. That's based on the photo from the Google Maps. Take a closer look at this part. In an instant, the houses at the foot of the mountain were buried. Even the barangay hall was destroyed. In this viral video, you can see a close-up of large fissure in the mountain. It's estimated to be around 50 meters or height of a building with more than 5 floors. Until today, the search for those buried continues intensively. The work of rescuers continues throughout the night, especially time is of the essence.
Going pa rin pagkalot, ang uban, ang bus, napadari. Nagkaroon pa natabunan diri posible.
According to the Army Rescue Unit, they have recovered 7 bodies, rescued 13 individuals, tended to more than 30 wounded. However, around 70 are still missing. Due to the severity of the tragedy, residents of Barangay Masara, Tagbaros, Elizalde, and Panibasan were forcibly evacuated. News 5 visited the evacuation center and found the couple Giovanni and Christy May Alberto. They were glued to their cell phones, constantly messaging their nephew Iral, who was among those buried. However, they received no reply.
Hindi naman talaga na siya ba talaga ba? Siya ba yun ang nakita talaga na confirm?
Paano anong dasal mo ngayon na?
Sana na makita na si Iral Pudang at kahit man lang maparamdam lang po sa amin na mag-chat man lang po sa mga pinsan niya dito na sana mawalan po yung kaba namin na magparamdam lang po siya sa amin.
Here in Barangay Elizalde, the health center is where the recovered bodies are being brought. We found Annabel Canyo in tears. Her husband was among those buried in the landslide.
May nagsabi po sa akin na andito, yung kanyang pinsan na na-confirm na raw na andito. Dinadrive niya yung jeep at siya yung service ng mga nagtatrabaho riyan sa Apex Mining.
The 2 buses that were caught in the landslide are still being located. These buses were carrying employees of a mining company who had just finished their work. The military has since deployed air ambulances to expedite the transfer of the wounded to hospitals. For News 5, Rainiel Pawid, we are One News.
So Apex Mining Corporation says it's assisting in relief operations. In a disclosure to the stock exchange, Apex Mining, which is a listed company, said the incident happened outside their mine operations, but that it is focused on fully supporting the rescue operations of the LGU by providing equipment, manpower, and food supplies to affected residents and employees. The company is on limited operations while it provides resources to the rescue operations. Apex shares closed down more than 2% today. It says 62 employees have been accounted for while 45 remain missing. We invited the executives of Apex Mining on the show tonight to give us updates, but they declined.
Let's get more updates on how the search and rescue operations are going. We have with us live via Zoom Mr. Edward Macaipili, Executive Assistant of the Davao de Oro Information and Communications Office. Magandang gabi po sa inyo. Naririnig niyo po ba kami, Mr. Edward?
Baka nakamute siya.
Mr. Edward, nakamute po ata tayo.
Hello?
Ayan, magandang gabi po.
Yes po, okay.
Okay, una-una po ay kamustahin lang po natin yung kalagayan ng search and rescue operations sa ngayon. Naibalita po namin, 70 yung missing. We know that this is a race against time. Ano po ba, are they all missing? Because I also saw a report a while ago that some remain trapped. So what is the state of our search and rescue right now?
Yes, ma'am. For today, ended around 4 o'clock in the afternoon kasi po, due to bad weather condition, meron kasi nabing pumasok na draft of LPA. And as of this morning, may ano na po, as of today, iba kasi yung data na napunta sa inyo. Maybe
Sir, medyo choppy lang
Looks like
po tayo,
we are
no?
having difficulties. Nawala po yung audio po ninyo, Mr. Edward. Alam ko, signal is one of the problems in
Hindi
that
nga.
area because
I'm
of the rough weather situation. We do hope to get a clearer line with Mr. Edward Macaipili.
Yes, but then, I guess unless you're under a rock today, I think everyone has heard of what has happened in Davao de Oro. Other people might know this as Compostela Valley. And the last time na naalala ko na may ganito kalaking sakuna na tumama sa probinsyang yun, 2012 pa nung bagyong Pablo, it was so strong. Now, the difference though between Pablo and this is that bagyo yun. So lilipas yun at mabilis siyang i-forecast. Yung mga nagyayaring pag-ulan ngayon, sunod-sunod. Kaninang 1 p.m. nakita ko na naman nag-tweet si Pag-asa na may heavy rainfall advisory again for Mindanao. So, nakakadismaya talaga na sunod-sunod na nga. Remember nung nakausap natin si Davao del Norte Representative Pantaleon Alvarez, he already said, this was like last month pa, weeks ago, na busy nga
There
siya,
have been
no?
torrential rains.
Torrential rains, and he's really busy, with the flood victims and landslide victims within the Davao province.
Sabi nga ni Mr. Edward Macaipili ay may reports nga of trough and LPA entering.
Trust
Sheer
ng LPA.
line.
Sheer line.
Sheer line.
That's why they halted the search and rescue operations at 4 p.m. today.
Yes. So yun nga yung mga nagpapaulan, no? One is the easterly winds coming from the Pacific Ocean. May dala tong mainit, maalinsangan. So hot and humid air na pag dumadaan, parang nagkakos talaga siya ng rain. Pero mainit pa din yung humid na klase ng rain. Bukod sa nabanggit nyo, I think, Reg, it was the shear line that caused the initial rains. Nawala yung shear line. Pumasok naman yung trough ng LPA. Yun yung sinasabi ni Sir Edward as of today. So yun yung buntot ng LPA.
We do
Maraming
have
dalang
a
pagulan.
lot of questions because this is near a mining site.
Yes, and the mine that these workers were working on, ito yung mga affected workers, was supposedly, well, we don't have confirmation at this point, but we know that Apex Mining Corporation owns and operates the Maco gold mine in southern Mindanao. So there is a high probability na yun nga yung affected mine. Although, again, the company did specify that the landslide was not in the mine area.
Right,
So
it was
these
right
workers were on
outside.
the way home already.
I think verbatim, Reg, it says outside mine operations, right? But their employees were right outside, so I think they still have to investigate really whether this was an impact of the mine. The other question on my head is, we know about Apex Mine because it's a big mine, but what about other mines? I think we
Mukhang
do have...
mababalikan na natin muli si Mr. Edward Macaipili, again, the Executive Assistant of the Davao de Oro Information and Communications Office. Mr. Edward, can you hear us?
yes, ma'am. I hear clearly po.
Okay. Mr. Edward, muli, ano po ulit ang lagay ng search and rescue operations po dyan ngayon?
Well, yung search and rescue operation po ended this afternoon around 4 o'clock due to bad weather condition kasi may pumasok na naman na trough of LPA. But it's not that the same of the previous week na talagang malakas, umabot ng 6 na araw yung ulan na that caused the several municipalities that drowned in the water. But then today's operation, yung data po namin or datos na nakuha namin na bigay po ng Municipal Disaster Risk Reduction Management, and it was consolidated to the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction Management na umabot na po sa 7 dead bodies po yung na-recover.
How about for the missing, the number of missing persons?
Oo nga, sir, may idea po ba tayo kung ilan talaga
Yes,
ang nawawala?
yung sa record namin ng provincial disaster, yung missing person umabot pa po ng 48 person yung missing individuals in our records of provincial disaster risk reduction management, and there are about 31 injured and 285 families already forcibly evacuated to the different evacuation centers.
Kanina po may na-report din po na mga trapped. Maaari niyo po bang maklarify kung nasaan na po sila? Na-rescue po ba sila lahat? Ano po yung naging condition nila?
Yes, ito yung po kasi yung, if I'm not mistaken, the datos that given to you was from the East Mincom.
Yes, East
Opo,
Eastern
opo.
Mindanao
Yes po.
Command.
Yes, the Eastern Mindanao Command. They have conducted their separate investigation, and I do not know. That is why in our group chat po sa Provincial Information Office with the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction Management and the Municipal Disaster Office ng Municipality of Maco, we're asking if the data or the data produced by the East Mincom was verified, because in our ends, we're just giving our datos based on the Ardana report ng provincial disaster.
All right, Edward, can you paint us a picture here? We're not clear exactly what happened. We've seen the statements from Apex Mining. A lot of their employees, yun yung mga natrap, yun yung mga hinahanap ngayon. They have said, nasa labas po ng minahan, ng mismong minahan, yung nagyari, yung landslide. But we would just like to know if you have any idea, can you give us the context? Gaano kalayo po ba dun sa actual mine site yung nagyari? Is this the first time na nagyari tong ganitong landslide sa area na yon?
Actually, the Barangay Masara is a mining site of Apex Mining. Yung the whole barangay na yan, mining area yan ng Apex Mining. The landslide, of course, no, bar down kasi the tunnel, but the landslide happens in the outer space of the mountain. Yung landslide area, yung zone 1, doon yun sa area ng may barangay hall. And then within the vicinity site of the barangay hall, meron doong parang parking area ng mga service buses na nagpro-provide ng sa mga empleyado na hatid sundo sila. So doon po pumupunta yung mga magsisiuwi na ng mga employees na galing sa tunnel. Kasi po 24-hour operation yung Apex Mining. So there are 3 shiftings. Yung ng mga biktima na yon ay katatapos ng shifting nila, kaya pauwi na sila.
So meaning, klaruhin lang natin, Edward, yung buong barangay na yon, ang meron lang doon is yung mine operations, kumbaga.
Yes, ma'am.
So walang kasi typical naman yun sa mining town, di ba, na yung buong barangay talaga, lahat nagtatrabaho sa mine, etc., etc. So ganun po ba yung setup dun sa affected barangay?
It's part of the agreement of the local government when there is an investor like Apex Mining, given priority yung mga residente dyan na may employ. But there are other employees within the province, yung iba pa nga outside the province of Davao de Oro, working in the Apex Mining. So kaya kasi ang buong Apex Mining kasi mining area yan. Magaganda naman yung pag-taker ng Apex Mining. Sinasabi ko nga sa mga interview, kung baguhan ka dyan, hindi mo malalaman na mining area pala yan, because it was really taken care. At saka yung bundok, may mga kahoy pa din na ganun. Hindi yung open cut ang ginagawa nila.
Correct.
Yeah. More importantly, though, what do we know about the 2 buses that were buried in the landslides? As of last update, this was 2:30 in the afternoon, sabi ng Apex Mining. 62 employees have been accounted for, 45 others are missing. I wonder if you have a status update at this point. And also, it's been more than 24 hours since the landslides hit.
Yes.
How much longer are you going to continue searching?
Well, in as much as the rescue operation is concerned, the incident command chairman, in the person of Congressman Attorney Peter Gonzaga, because the the Barangay Masara belongs to the municipality of Maco, and that belongs to the second district. Governor Dorothy Gonzaga, the former Associate Justice of Court Appeals, the husband of Congressman Gonzaga, asked Congressman Gonzaga to personally take charge the incident command post. And I think if there's a need to continue the operation for as long as the victims will be retrieved, lahat-lahat sila, then by that time, saka pa mag-order ng stop yung operation. Ngayon lang, medyo napaaga yung paghinto kasi nagkaroon ng bad weather condition. Umulan po kanina mga around 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
But the two buses that were buried, what else do we know about them?
Well, it's not on the given emphasis yung buses. Kasi yung scenario dyan, barangay hall, may mga tao din kasi doon sa gabi, may mga nagjo-duty ng mga tinatawag nating barangay police. Tapos yung harap to nung barangay hall, nandun yung parking area ng mga buses, at saka in front of that again are the residential site yan. Maraming bahay dyan, kaya may mga natabunan din na mga bahay.
So not necessarily majority of the victims were Apex Mining employees.
Yes. But the Apex last night gave us the list of at least 27 employees, regular employees, na nakasakay doon sa dalawang bus. Kasi dalawang bus yun. Yung isang bus, nasa 17 passengers yun. Yung isa naman is 10 ang nakalista na nakasakay doon sa isang bus.
Alright, Edward, in terms of evacuation, meron bang nakapag-evacuate or meron bang protocol no, na kung malakas na nga yung ulan for so and so days na kailangan mag-roll out ng evacuation order? Would you know of any such policy that is in place?
Yes, last night po Governor Justice Dorothy Gonzaga immediately ordered a forced evacuations of the 5 barangays. Barangay Masara, Barangay Mainit, Barangay Elizalde, Barangay Tagbaros at saka Barangay Panibasan. In fact, initially, the governor ordered and forced evacuations at lahat sila dadalhin doon sa Barangay Andili of Municipality of Mawab. It is the adjacent municipality of Maco. Kasi yung Barangay Masara, part of Municipality of Maco, but the only way to reach that place, Barangay Masara, is passing through the Municipality of Mawab.
Okay.
Edward, we know the president flew over the landslide that happened there. May
Yes.
naiabot na po ba yung national government na tulong? May naipangako na po ba? At what exactly is the immediate need for the residents there?
Well, of course, the immediate need of the local government is to rehab the area. That is why the governor and some mayors who are affected area. Because the coming of the president, it's not only for the landslide. It was due to the floods that happens in the past week due to shorelines at saka yung drought of LPA. And then it was just incidentally nangyari yung landslide kahapon. And then the governor, Justice Dorothy Gonzaga, and the mayors of Maco and Mabini and Mawab also presented kasi partly apektado din sila. And I heard that the president offered already a huge amount for the rehabilitations of the roads and bridges caused by, it was damage caused by the shorelines, the drought of LPA, and this one, the landslide incident.
Right, mukhang we have a lot of questions still, but we will reserve that for when we know more about this situation. Maraming salamat. Please do stay safe for us. That was Mr. Edward Macaipili, Executive Assistant of the Davao de Oro Information and Communications Office.
265 million pesos, I should point out, is the amount that President Marcos released just this afternoon for emergency cash transfer to victims of this landslide. 265 million pesos.
Right.
Pero, we're seeing this more and more in the headlines. floods affecting landslides in the southern part of the Philippines.
And we all wonder now, is it connected? Is this climate change? Because you're right, Gretchen, hindi lang dito nagyayari, ano, all the way on the other side of the pond, on the other side of the Pacific Ocean. Well, storms in California have also triggered massive flooding, mudslides, and power outages in the southern part of the state. One of the wettest storms in Southern California history unleashed at least 475 mudslides in the Los Angeles area. The storm was the second to hit in 1 week, fueled by an atmospheric river, which is a vast airborne current of dense moisture funneled inland from the Pacific Ocean. Forecasters remain on flood watch with millions of people under risk of high flooding. Some of the hardest hit areas were in the upscale communities of the Hollywood Hills, Beverly Hills, and Topanga Canyon.
Up next, President Bongbong Marcos had a full day in Davao City today. A rundown of his activities when the big story returns. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. The government and water concessionaires are now preparing new sources of water to brace for the impact of a stronger El Nino. They may have to work double time, though, as water levels in different dams are slowly declining. JC Cosico gives us more details on that. JC?
That's right, Reg. It's just the start of the year, but Pag-asa is already observing the slow drop in water levels of almost all dams here in Luzon. The biggest decline over the past 24 hours was logged in the Magat and San Roque dams. The dam's water level have dropped below the normal high water level, and Pag-asa says this is the result of less rainfall caused by the El Nino.
Medyo maliit yung pag-ulan na nare-record. So yung replenishment doon po sa ating watershed, maaring hindi po siya ganon kalaki.
The Angat Dam in Bulacan is the main source of water of Metro Manila and nearby provinces. But this morning, water level in Angat is at 209.97 meters, lower than yesterday's 210.08 meters. Though this is still higher compared to its 180-meter minimum operating level, Pag-asa says we should not be complacent.
Pag bumaba na talaga siya doon sa parang low, yung parang operating level na yun. So meron na po kasing mga sectors na pwede po tayong pwedeng maapektuhan na. Like halimbawa po, pwede tayong magkaroon ng water interruption.
Manila, which sources 90% of its water supply from the Angat Dam, says they don't see water service interruptions happening anytime soon. But they say they have supply augmentation programs in place, like the use of water treatment plants and deep wells. Currently, there are 14 areas in the country experiencing drought. 10 areas, including Metro Manila, are meanwhile experiencing a dry spell. More areas are expected to be affected by the El Nino in the coming months due to the lack of rains. For its part, the government is also preparing additional water sources to mitigate the impact of El Nino. Earlier today, the president was in Davao City to witness the inauguration of the Davao City Bulk Water Supply Project. The facility was made through a partnership between the Davao City Water District and Apo Agua Infrastructure, a subsidiary of Aboitiz Infra Capital. It has a water production capacity of 300 million liters per day, the largest of its kind in the country. Gretchen, the government expects the Davao City Bulk Water Supply Project to benefit over 1 million Davaoenos. It aims to ensure enhanced supply of safe water to Davao residents. Back to you.
Well, as they say, it's better to be safe than thirsty. Thank you very much, JC Cosico.
Right, now something worth pointing out in JC's report on the inauguration of the Davao City Bulk Water Supply Project that has nothing to do with water is, of course, the absence of Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte at that event. It is customary for local officials to be present when the president visits their town. Let's check out that photo once again. We can see on that stage in the event, from left to right, that is Special Assistant to the President, Anton Lagdameo Jr. We have DENR Secretary Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga. We also have President, of course, BBM. And then on his right, or on his left, is Aboitiz Group President and CEO Sabina Aboitiz, and Davao City Water District Chairman Eduardo Bangayan. Now, as we know, ang Davao ang baluarte ng mga Duterte, and Marcos's visit to Duterte country comes just a little over 1 week after the Davao prayer rally, where former President Duterte called him bangag, and where Mayor Baste called for Marcos to resign. In any case, the program went off without a hitch, and in his speech, the president called for the faster implementation of water projects around the country in order to brace for the impact of El Nino and climate change.
You also might have noticed that Vice President Sara Duterte was not present at that particular event, but she did attend the next two events that were also held in Davao City today. Julie Baiza has the details on those. And Julie, first question to you is, people are curious, was there any awkwardness at all between the two highest officials of the land? Oh, Brian Basa, sorry, I'm not Julie Baiza, Brian Basa.
Hi, Regina. There appears to be no awkwardness between the country's two highest officials, even after the attacks launched by other members of the Duterte family against the president. After the bulk water project inauguration, President Marcos headed to the Rizal Memorial College, also in Davao, to lead in handing out over 2,500 land titles to agrarian reform beneficiaries. Wala pa rin doon si Mayor Baste, but as you mentioned, Vice President Sara Duterte was there, and she, in fact, was the one who called the president up the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Humirit ang Pangulo sa speech nito na marami raw siyang magagandang alaala sa Davao. Yan ay kahit pa malinaw ang mga patutsada sa kanya ng mag-amang Duterte.
Marami ring mga pagkakaibigang panghabang buhay ang naburito. Hindi maaaring mawala sa aking puso ang pagmamahal ng Davao sa mga tao dito.
VP Sara was also with the president during the contract signing for the Davao Public Transport Modernization Project. This is a bus-based public transport system that aims to improve commuter experience in Davao. There, the president ordered the Transportation Department to build more of such facilities, especially to help commuters in Davao in their travel despite the occasional heavy floods. Back to you.
Thanks for that update, Brian Basa. So good news and bad news coming out of Davao. On the one hand, we were reporting landslides, but on the other hand, they inaugurated the largest bulk water facility in the country there, which should serve the Davaoenos and the second project being the transport modernization program that's supported by the Asian Development Bank. So on the other hand,
I'm not sure if this is considered good or bad, but distributing the title agrarian reform and
yes,
fisheries as well.
there's also that. There's a lot of
such a busy day in Davao.
Very busy day.
Well, it's good to see that there's investment in infrastructure going to the southern part, because there's been a lot of controversy there with the calls for secession.
Exactly, much needed infrastructure, I should point out.
All right, let's check out some economic data now. We have some more good news after yesterday's inflation print. This time it has something to do with the labor front. The rate of unemployment in the Philippines hit a near two-decade low in December of last year. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority showed jobless rate in December 2023 at 3.1%. That is lower than the figure in November and also lower than in the same period in 2022. The December jobless rate is the lowest since 2005, while the employment rate at 96.9% is also the highest since that year. Topping the industries with the highest annual increase in employment are construction and agriculture jobs, with over 700,000 generated, accommodations with almost 500,000 employed, followed by transportation and health and social work. The PSA attributes the historically higher December figure to the holiday season.
So yes, there is really seasonality, and this is because, of course, during the holidays you have consumption is higher, and thus nagki-create tayo ng additional jobs.
But Ibon Foundation is concerned precisely with this seasonal increase in jobs. The think tank believes that the government should still work double time in providing quality jobs in order to sustain the low unemployment number.
Kung malaking bahagi ng trabaho ay nasa construction, panandalian lamang yan. So medyo yung kalidad ng trabaho nagmamata talaga doon sa sustainability, right?
Okay, we're pausing for a quick break, but right after that, the PNP says it will not enforce the supposed arrest warrant that will reportedly be issued by the International Criminal Court against former President Duterte. But is there really such a warrant to begin with? We'll ask that to ICC Assistant to Counsel Atty Christina Conti when the big story returns. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. The Philippine National Police says it has not received any information on the supposed impending arrest against former President Rodrigo Duterte. The PNP added that if the International Criminal Court or ICC were to issue such a warrant, they will not enforce it.
So hindi po natin alam, sir, kung saan po, sino po yung source nila, Atty. Roque, at yung ating pong dating presidente. But on the part of the PNP po, wala pa po tayong nare-receive na any information in this issue po. It is very clear that they have no jurisdiction over any person within the jurisdiction of the Philippines po.
Former Palace spokesman Harry Roque earlier claimed that the former president had received information about his so-called looming arrest in light of the ICC's drug war investigation. Roque also claimed that he heard reports that there were directives to disband Task Force Davao in preparation for this supposed arrest. Despite all of this, Roque said the former president is ready to face whatever comes his way.
Kagabi, ang sabi niya siya ay mag-i-issue ng statement pero in-inform ako na ako na lang daw ang magsalita. Kasi ang nais niyang iparating sa taong bayan is quote, no? Harapin ko sila pero hindi nila ako makukuhang buhay.
All right, let's try to get some clarification on this. Joining us tonight, we have ICC Assistant to Counsel, Attorney Christina Conti. Good evening, Attorney. Thanks for being with us.
Yes, good evening.
I'll go straight into it. Attorney, si former Palace spokesman Harry Roque has been saying that former President Duterte has gotten information that there is supposedly a warrant of arrest that may be served to him at any time. This is in connection to the ICC's ongoing drug war investigation. I was wondering if you knew anything about that, and can you help set the record straight?
Well, on the part of the victims and as participating victims in this investigation, we have no information of this about this warrant of arrest that supposedly has been issued already. But what we know is that, and what we hope, is that there will be a warrant eventually issued. So kung sa amin po, baka hindi ngayon pa, pero baka later in the proceedings. The investigation is still ongoing as far as we know, and there has been no finding yet that is on record from the Office of the Prosecutor. So we're waiting for that. If ever the President himself, as a possible respondent, as a possible accused in the ICC proceeding, has such information, then this poses the question whether he has contact with the International Criminal Court. Has he cooperated? Or is he just listening to chismis? Or perhaps to whatever multo na naririnig niya sa gabi niya? So that has yet to be seen. But for now, from the ICC, there is no word from them.
Okay, Attorney, sorry, natawa naman ako dun sa sinabi mo. Pero I just wanted to ask, no, you said in the future, no, possible na magkaroon ng warrant. The way we are looking at things right now, I'm not even gonna ask you about the timeline because that might be a little hard. But if you know something about the timeline, please share with us. And also, from here until a warrant comes out, marami pa bang steps na kailangan pagdaanan tong investigasyon?
Linawin ko first, a warrant of arrest can issue even at this stage of the investigation. So there's generally, this is a nuance that people might forget sometimes, kasi it's a little bit different in the Philippines. We issue the warrant of arrest if the charges have been filed, pag nandyan na sa korte. In this case, sa ICC, so technically it's the entire court. You have the OTP, you have the judiciary. But at this stage in the investigation, you can actually ask the court, the judges, to issue a warrant of arrest. Ang konsepto niya, summons. And that kind of warrant of arrest can be issued to ask the person to cooperate, to ensure that evidence is not tampered with or destroyed, and to ensure that this person, who has to be one of the most responsible or probably committed crimes against humanity. Hindi naman pwedeng basta kung sino-sino lang. When this warrant is issued, it is asked to be enforced by the member states of the ICC. So the issuance of the warrant is a different thing altogether from the enforcement of the warrant.
Okay, apart from rumors of a warrant of arrest, there are also rumors of ICC investigators in the country. Could you confirm with us, can you share with us if there are indeed people here? Because the President has said that we will not help, but we are watching them to make sure they don't come into contact with any government agency.
I'm not in a position to confirm or to deny their presence, primarily because of security.
All right.
Their security and those whom they talk to or are talking to, especially with that consistent position that the government will not cooperate. Mahirap dyan, may maiipit, kumbaga. Kung nakapasok na sila, it could be a form of cooperation if you assisted in their entry into the Philippines. However, what we can confirm is that the investigation is ongoing, just not the presence.
Pero it's
With
possible,
regard to-
attorney. It's possible, right?
Yes,
It's
it's
within the
possible.
realm of possibility. Na
Yes,
nandito
and
sila.
I think it was the president, no, yung nadulas. What he said was, if they want to come into the Philippines as individuals, then do so. But we will not be helping you in your official capacity.
Ano nga ba? Ano nga ba ibig sabihin nun? What is he permitting here exactly? I mean, you can't come into contact with government agencies. That's clear. What, just in case, what are they allowed to do?
So, for instance, are they allowed to speak directly to the victims of the war on drugs? And do we know
yes.
if they have spoken to the victims?
Or is it all undercover? I mean, or do they come as tourists and just work anyways? Like, how does it work?
Well, they could have, no? But again, this is an investigation and they are free. It is within their prerogative to conduct it as they deem fit according to their security, to confidentiality standards, and so forth. So, basta hindi lang mabulilyaso yung investigation, I mean, they can do anything. I mean, legally
got
that
it.
they can, no? But
So, attorney-
with regard to the victims, we have said that we maintain that we cooperate with the ICC, and whether that's physical, face-to-face interaction, or online interaction, or written interaction, we have consistently confirmed that. However, again, we have been cautioned that we should not preempt, kumbaga, the trial, because disclosing yourselves, outing yourselves as victims, actually puts you in danger. Kasi baka may mangyari sa'yo, and that has happened in other countries. Bago matumungtong ng trial, uubusin na nila or pipilayin na nila yung prosecution. Mawawala na yung mga witnesses, aatras na sila. So we're taking pains to make this investigation as confidential, as safe, as thorough as possible. And so that when we proceed into trial, kumpleto yung evidence. But I'd just like to add one thing. Nabanggit nyo na, sino kayang kinakausap nila? Well, this is just reading within the framework of the law and within the framework of previous investigations. Ang kakausapin mo, ang pupuntahan mo ay yung ayaw na pumunta sa The Hague, or ayaw kumausap, or ayaw mag-volunteer. And that could be insider witnesses. Insider witnesses are incumbent or past police officers, or those who were involved in the war on drugs, yung dun sa death squads. And perhaps these investigators are looking for someone who would directly connect the, kumbaga, sinong nag-utos dun sa footmen to the foot soldiers on the ground na nagsagawa, nag-implement ng war on drugs.
Okay, so hindi pala ganun ka-unfounded, no, attorney? The fact na takot, or there is grounds na para maparanoid ka kung ikaw si former President Duterte because of the process that you have just explained, that anything is possible. But in terms of the investigation, are you hopeful that it will prosper until, that the ICC will see it through the end?
Yes, definitely. On the part of the victims, we have provided them with almost everything. As I said, they will start with sinong nag-utos, tapos kung anong nangyari on the ground. We've shown them how it happens on the ground, the killings. Here are the police reports. We've shown them how it was ordered and how it began. As far back as December 2015, when then candidate Rodrigo Duterte said, "Merry Christmas sa mga kriminal, huling Christmas nyo na to." Nagsimula ng gano'n na statement hanggang sinabi niya na kill, kill, kill. I will paint or I will make Manila Bay red. Patatabain ko yung mga isda dyan. These statements, which were on the government's own websites, thank you to the PCOO, for meticulously transcribing all these statements have been submitted to the court. I think they're just narrowing down talaga the parameters of the trial. And we're very hopeful for that when we step into trial, malinis at maayos na yung ebidensya, malinis at maayos na yung mga testimonya.
Okay, and lastly, Attorney, do you see any indications at all that President Marcos might bring the Philippines back into the ICC as a member? Or wala?
If we were to trust his words or to just rely on his words, wala eh. But I don't know, politics in the Philippines is very fickle, di ba? Kahit anong, bigla na lang may iba-ihip ng hangin. And we felt some hope spring up after the House of Representatives. I think they passed already the resolution that asks the government, it is a resolution that urges the government to cooperate with the ICC investigation. There is a pending bill before the Senate. So if you have this one branch of government, legislative, and another branch of government, the judiciary, with a decision in Pangilinan versus Cayetano, saying that we have residual or we have the remaining obligation to cooperate with the ICC. It's just the executive left na being stubborn and not cooperating with the ICC.
Indeed, this is such a sensitive case, and we thank you so much for joining us tonight to share some insights. That was ICC Assistant to Counsel Attorney Cristina Conti. We're going to pause for a very quick one. Oh no, we're not going to pause for a very quick one. I'm sorry. Moving on to the next story. The Joint House Committees on Dangerous Drugs and Health has approved the medical cannabis bill, which seeks to allow its use in certain medical cases. From one drug story nga naman to another. Medical cannabis are concentrates, topicals, edibles, or cannabis products like oil and others that contain tetrahydrocannabinol and cannabidiol from the cannabis plant or marijuana. In the hearing earlier today, lawmakers cleared up which patients are qualified to access the drug.
Qualified patients are persons who have been diagnosed by an accredited physician as having a debilitating or non-debilitating medical condition and who, in the authorized physician's evaluation, should receive medical cannabis as treatment.
So, debilitating medical conditions include yung mga nakakaranas ng severe and chronic pain, seizures, intense muscle spasms, or other conditions like cancer, glaucoma, multiple sclerosis, damage sa nervous system ng spinal cord, epilepsy, HIV or AIDS, post-traumatic stress disorders, rheumatoid arthritis, or autoimmune inflammatory disorders.
Pwede rin magkaroon ng access yung mga non-debilitating medical condition users, which means kahit hindi severe yung condition pero nakaka-apekto sa well-being ng tao, pwede nilang gamitin ito. These include chronic issues that may cause discomfort or distress to the patient.
Okay, sabi nga ni Congressman Ace Barbers, no, siya yung chairman ng House Committee on Dangerous Drugs. Kinlarify niya na for medical use lang talaga ito at hindi recreation. Itong bill nga na ito, no, it aims to establish a medical cannabis office under the Health Department. Primary regulatory body ang DOH with admin and monitoring functions. They will also make sure na accredited ang mga hospital, clinic, drugstores at iba pang medical facilities, no, na pagkukuhaan ng medical cannabis. Ito nga lang, the bill will make sure na accredited physicians lang do yung magpe-prescribe. Pag nahuli ka daw, no, the doktor ka na naglalabag, pwedeng ma-cancel ang inyong license at may multa ng 500,000 pesos hanggang 1 million pesos. Pero again, no, clarification lang. It's just nasa committee level ng House.
Correct.
So, super
we're still
layo pa
far away, but you know, this gives some hope to the people who have been asking for it, the people who suffer from chronic and yun nga, debilitating pain.
There are advocates.
Pero you know what, ilang times na siya umabot sa level na to and it never prospered. So,
Hope
really
springs
hoping...
eternal according to sabi nga ni Attorney Conti.
Totoo, tama siya. So we're gonna leave it there, right? But before we go, may oras pa para sa ating big picture for tonight. Okay, where we love all these clean projects. What you're seeing is a recently inaugurated clean energy project in Barangay Hugo Perez, 13 Martires City in Cavite. This charging station uses recycled batteries from electric vehicles and solar energy, no, para gumana. Now, aside from this, the facility's electricity can also power street lights in the Gawad Kalinga community. The roofs of these structures are also equipped with solar panels, which further contribute to the village's power supply. Now, this project was spearheaded by Meralco Industrial Engineering Services Corporation, otherwise known as Miascor, and Korean company Seochang Electric. And it cost around $3 million or almost 170 million pesos. Seochang Electric and Miascor hope to expand the project to different locations across the Philippines.
Medyo expensive yan.
Ang mahal pala.
Pero yung solar technology is getting cheaper and cheaper and more affordable for
As it
homes.
goes mainstream, these technologies will get cheaper and cheaper, which is exactly what we need. Remember, we started off this newscast talking about storms, landslides, flooding, right? So again, the push towards renewable energy will help that.
I was actually reading about e-tricycles. They're manufacturing a lot. It's been a hit.
Yes,
China is manufacturing a lot.
I think Bajaj was the first to manufacture.
Sikat siya sa US. Dito rin, we're seeing more and more of the e-trikes. Yun nga lang, there's a little bit of controversy on having them certified.
Yes,
registered.
recently, ang daming lumabas na mga memorandum, di ba? Nahuhuliin daw itong mga e-trikes.
daw pumunta sa
National Highway.
Kasi bawal naman talaga ang mga tricycle doon. But, it just shows people that there is a viable alternative solution to what we have. And it is a huge threat to four-wheeled vehicles.
Yes.
It is. So hoping the LTO will recognize them and give them proper registration para maging legit na sila. But that's it for the big story on this Wednesday night.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.